Come on, hair. Don't make me look like a unicorn. Oh, I'm live. Hello, Jacksonites, and welcome. God damn it. Just going to make me look like a unicorn. Welcome to...
I call you Fluttershy.
Shut up. Welcome to part 3 of my Jurassic Park series review, where we talk about what I was going to say is easily the most contentious, but now that the 5th movie's been released, I think that's replaced this, but I'll just still say the most contentious installment in the Jurassic Park franchise. When we talk about 2001's Jurassic Park 3. And of course, joining me today, as he is so rudely interrupted my speech.
Okay, unicorn.
I'm going to smack you. Is Shawnee Boy from JTISREBORN. Say hello.
Why, hello. Daddy's back. Cake every night. Here to talk about Jurassic Park 3. What I consider the most underrated film in the Jurassic Park franchise. Before Jurassic World came out, I always liked this one, number 2, more than I did The Lost World. I think The Lost World is my least favorite of the franchise, but there's still some things I like about Lost World, but I definitely really like Jurassic Park 3. So
I like Jurassic Park 3 too.
Go ahead, Nick.
And also, you'll notice I have gone back to the slicked back hair look that I had for some of my Godzilla reviews. Though that's just a sign that I'm going to be shaving my head very, very, very soon, as a certain somebody will not want me to do. She knows who she is. So Jurassic Park 3, as I've kind of alluded to, is a very contentious installment in the franchise, as there are those, unlike The Lost World, whereas nowadays it seems to lean more towards a lot of people liking the film. Jurassic Park 3 retains its hit or miss mentality after 17 years. There are those who either love it or there are those who hate it. Obviously, if Jackie Boy was here, he'd be screaming and ranting and raving about how much he hates it. And then there are people like me and Sean who actually do like Jurassic Park 3 for what it is and think it's a little underrated. I also do agree. I think Jurassic Park 3 is an underrated movie. Not to say that it doesn't have its problems, don't get me wrong. But overall, I think Jurassic Park 3 is a very fun time. So, Shawnee Boy, what is your personal history when it comes to Jurassic Park 3?
Well, I grew up a big Jurassic Park fan. I watched the VHS of Jurassic Park 1 and The Lost World repeatedly a numerous amount of times.
As I did
too. I really, really wanted to see Jurassic Park 3 in the theaters, but unfortunately this was the early 2000s. Sean wasn't really able to go to the movies as much as he wanted to. Nobody would really ever take me, so I had to wait for DVD and VHS. And for my birthday the following year, when the DVD and that came out, I actually got 2 copies of this movie. I got a copy of it on VHS. I got it on DVD. I really like the DVD menu, by the way. DVD menu, just a little rant really quick, but DVD menus nowadays suck. They're so generic. It's just blah, 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 blah.
Was it this copy?
The menu for Jurassic Park 3. Yep, it's that. And it's got it had a little booklet in there. It had a bunch of dinosaurs. And then it even has the cool menu where the raptor or whatever attacks the screen. And I'm like, I fucking miss that. I miss good quality DVD menus. Nowadays they all suck. But they're just the same thing over and over again. It's just a little rant. But yes.
To talk about my DVD for just one quick second. This is the original DVD release for Jurassic Park 3. And if you notice on the front, it does look to be kind of worn out. That's nothing compared to the back. I mean, look at all that.
Oh, good God, Nick. What did you do?
I didn't do jack shit. This was given to me as a hand-me-down from one of my mom's friends who took care of her belongings, all of her belongings, like a dog tears through steak.
There's some places I know that fix discs, so you can always get
I never fixed this disc. All I did was exhale on it and wipe some smudges off it. Surprisingly, this works perfectly in my DVD player, especially my Blu-ray player, but that's just because Blu-ray discs and Blu-ray players are much more lenient and also much more durable when it comes to scratches. But
it's weird though. Like my Fallen Kingdom Blu-ray, like the DVD part works fine. The Blu-ray of it is just malfunctioning in my Blu-ray player. I'm kind of mad because it was already open. I got it from the store. I'm like, the fuck is this shit? Good thing I have a digital copy in that, but like other means to watch it. But I'm kind of disappointed. Like it plays on my PS3, but it like makes a loud noise. On my PS4, it struggles to play. I don't know why. There's no scratches on it or anything. So I'm like, what the fuck?
Stick with the DVD.
So I'll just play the DVD.
Anyway, continue. Sorry.
But yes, I was a huge Jurassic Park fan. I had a bunch of toys. I remember the Spinosaurus toys I had. I would play with them. Like,
I had that.
And then I finally watched Jurassic Park 3. And like for a while, like obviously the first one's still my favorite. But I really like Jurassic Park 3 especially because you get a fight with the Spinosaurus and the T-Rex, which I thought was awesome back then. And the Spinosaurus, I never knew until really like more recently that a lot of people hated Jurassic Park 3 because of like the Spinosaurus. I'm like, the Spinosaurus is awesome. It's this bigger dinosaur, really aggressive, intelligent, and I'm like,
relatively intelligent.
Cool. Relatively, yes. It's not like Indominus Rex intelligent, but I'm like, I really like the Spinosaurus. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was a fan of the Spino too. Though I'll give my feelings on the Spino versus T-Rex fight later.
Yes, but I understand. I know what you're going to probably get at.
But to talk about my personal history of Jurassic Park, I remember some of the hype surrounding Jurassic Park 3 because I mean, I was alive when this movie was being released. I was born in 1997. Hell, I was born the year that the second movie came out. So I was around for some of the hype surrounding Jurassic Park 3. I don't remember a whole lot of it, but I did have three Jurassic Park 3 dinosaur toys. Velociraptor, T-Rex, and Spinosaurus. And I got them for Christmas when I was 4, maybe 5 years old. And I remember loving those toys. And finally, when my dad managed to get his hand... Actually, no. My mom got her hands on Jurassic Park 3 on, I think it was VHS at the time. And I remember me, her, and some of her friends watched the movie. And I just remember her constantly saying scary the whole time watching the movie, which in hindsight, that probably did annoy me, but I was just so focused on the movie. I didn't care. And then my dad got his hands on the disc, and I watched it from time to time here and there. And then it kind of escaped me for a little while. And then when my mom was back in my life after she disappeared for a while, she was living in a small apartment, and I was over there. It was just me and her at the time because my stepdad was away for a while. And I remember she said to me one night, "Hey, Jurassic Park 3 is going to be on TV tonight." And that got me excited because I hadn't seen the movie in a while. And I asked her, "Well, can you and I watch it tonight?" And she said, "Yeah." So she went out and she got a pizza, and she popped a couple bags of popcorn. And when it came on, we sat down and we watched Jurassic Park 3 on TV. And I remember us having a complete blast watching the film. Though granted, even if it's kind of a poor movie, and you don't really care for it, sometimes it just kind of depends on who you watch a movie with, that it either enhances or decreases your enjoyment of a film. Like, hell, what an example for me, I gave Batman versus Superman a 4 out of 10, but a couple days after I reviewed it, I watched it with my brother, and I found myself enjoying the movie a lot more, only because I was watching it with my brother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that depends. Certain movies, it's like you have a crowd, there's more enjoyment.
Mm-hmm. And with Jurassic Park 3, I definitely think it's one of those movies. I still like it when I watch it by myself, but when I watch it with somebody else, I always do find myself enjoying Jurassic Park 3 a lot more. And so, of course, I got the horrendously beat to shit disc, and I watched Jurassic Park 3 quite a few times. I think it was one of the first franchises that I was able to complete at the time when I got Jurassic Park 3. Only one that I can think of that I also completed was the Terminator series, which again was another trilogy. But then Jurassic World came out, and I've actually have not seen this movie that many times since I moved. Since my mom and my stepdad moved into their current place that they live in. But I still do think Jurassic Park 3 is an underrated movie, and I do still enjoy it as much as I used to this day. Again, despite its problems. So with all that said, I'm going to jump into the plot. I am aware that Jurassic Park 3 had kind of a troubled production. I don't know a lot of the specifics behind it, other than apparently Spielberg and Michael Crichton were planning to do a completely different type of storyline for Jurassic Park 3, but then Michael Crichton died, so couldn't really go in that direction. And then Steven Spielberg. So what?
Rest in peace.
Yes, may he rest in peace. Apparently, it was kind of a big shock when he died. But then again, he did keep a lot of his personal aspects of his life very, very private. So good for him. I'd do the same thing if I was a celebrity. So, and then the directing went to Joe Johnston, who had always wanted to direct a Jurassic Park sequel. So he finally got his chance. So yeah, I am aware that 3 had kind of a troubled production. I don't know a lot of the specifics of it, and I don't really want to go into a lot of the specifics of that. So let's just jump straight into the plot of Jurassic Park 3, shall we?
Okay.
So the movie begins with Ben Hildebrand and 12-year-old boy Eric Kirby are going parasailing, being tethered to a boat in the waters around Isla Sorna. The boat's crew this is one of my biggest problems with the movie. We'll talk about this later. The boat's crew mysteriously disappears, which forces Ben to detach the line. He and Eric then drift towards the island. In the U.S., paleontologist and Jurassic Park survivor Dr. Alan Grant, once again gloriously played by Sam Neill.
Oh yeah, Sam Neill's great in this, especially in the first movie. Which, by the way, first Jurassic Park, one of my top 10 favorite movies ever. Just saying.
Dr. Alan Grant, of course, has made a new discovery about the intelligence of velociraptors. He struggled, however, to secure funding for his research because of an incident at San Diego, being the second movie, that has revealed the existence of the de-extinct dinosaurs to the general public. Grant discusses his discovery of a resonating larynx on a fossilized raptor remains with his former lover and colleague, they broke up. Dr. Ellie Sattler. This and his experience at Jurassic Park leads him to believe the original velociraptors were socially sophisticated. He hypothesizes that they had not gone extinct and continued to evolve. Their descendants, rather than humans, would have become Earth's dominant species. It's a little far-fetched, but whatever. His assistant, Billy Brennan, uses a 3D printer to replicate the velociraptor larynx. Paul and Amanda Kirby then offer funding for Grant's research if he will fly them around Isla Sorna. Grant agrees reluctantly, and he flies there with Paul, Amanda, Billy, and the Kirby's mercenary associates, Udesky, Cooper, and their pilot Nash. During the flight, Grant learns that the Kirbys plan to land on the island. He protests, but Cooper knocks him unconscious. Grant awakens to discover that they have landed, and while Grant is trying to say, look, we got to get out of here, this is not a good idea to be here, a Spinosaurus attacks the group, and the surviving group boards the plane to escape. However, Cooper is devoured by the Spinosaurus on the runway, and the plane crashes into the forest nearby. The Spinosaurus destroys the plane, which kills Nash in the process. Fleeing, the survivors briefly lose the Spino, but they encounter a T-Rex. Now, I have to address something right here and right now. Supposedly, there is a fan theory out there that states the T-Rex in this movie is the juvenile T-Rex from Jurassic Park 2. I don't know if that's true or not. Honestly, to me, it sounds a tad far-fetched. Sean, what do you think of it?
Well, it had only been like 4 years between movies, so it's a possibility. I would have never thought of it. I just thought like a T-Rex. So,
I don't know if
well be.
I don't know if that theory is confirmed or not, but again, it honestly to me it sounds a little far-fetched. But
I mean, it's
whatever.
an island. I don't know how many T-Rex they have on the island. Maybe like a couple, I'd assume.
The Spino returns, but the group escapes while the two dinosaurs fight, and the Spinosaurus ends up killing the T-Rex by snapping its neck. We'll talk about that later. Grant learns the Kirbys are a middle-class divorced couple who are looking for their son Eric and Amanda's boyfriend Ben, who are missing on the island. Really? These two were dating? Didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. They're divorced.
I knew they were divorced, but I didn't know that Ben was Amanda's boyfriend. I just, because she says in the movie he wasn't alone; he was with a friend of mine, Ben Hildebrand. The group finds the parasail attached to Ben's decomposing corpse, and they take the parasail and then encounter raptor nests, and then find an abandoned InGen compound, which actually is one of the creepiest scenes in the movie. A raptor then chases them throughout the compound and summons the rest of its pack. The humans flee into a herd of Corythosaurs and Parasaurolophus, which causes a stampede and separating Grant and Udesky from the others. Raptors attack Udesky in an attempt to lure the others out of a tree. The raptors almost kill Amanda, but when she tries to descend to help, they try to kill her when she tries to descend to help Udesky. However, their trap fails, and they end up just killing Udesky before departing. Elsewhere, quite brutally too, by stabbing their killing claw right into his spine.
Ew.
Elsewhere, Grant watches the raptors communicating and suspects that they are searching for something. Raptors end up cornering him, but he is rescued by Eric, who survives in an overturned water truck. The next day, Grant and Eric hear Paul's satellite phone ringing when they are out and about looking for Eric's parents, and they are reunited with Billy and the Kirbys. But then, when they hear
obvious editing error, just want to point that out in the scene.
But then, when they hear the satellite phone ringing again, who had the phone when? Wait, hang on. Nash had the phone.
Nash.
Yeah.
Before he must have had it when he.
Which is an extremely annoying jingle. But anyway, Nash had the satellite phone on him when he was eating. So when they turn around and they hear it ringing, there's a Spinosaurus, which is a really, really cool shot if you ask me. After the group escapes the Spino, Grant discovers Billy has taken 2 raptor eggs to use for funding, which of course has provoked the raptor attacks. Stupid fuck. Grant decides to keep the eggs to ensure the group's survival. The group unknowingly enters a large aviary used to house pteranodons, which apparently is taken from the first book, which attack the group and fly away with Eric. Billy rescues Eric using Ben's parasail, but then is attacked and apparently killed by the pteranodons. Again, pretty brutally.
Well, he was originally going to be, but he begged for his character to live, so they let him live.
The rest of the group escapes the aviary, leaving the door unlocked. They find a boat and make their way down a river, trying to get down to the coast, which is probably the smartest thing that you can do. That night, the group retrieves the ringing telephone, which is buried in the piles of shit from the Spinosaurus, which has got to be one of the.
That is one big pile of shit.
Which has got to be one of the grossest scenes in the entire movie. You must be really dedicated and desperate to get a phone if you're willing to go shoulder deep into shit. Oh, God.
Well, they're into some kinky stuff, so. They like their dirty faces.
Oh no. That was a shitty joke.
Oh my god.
Fuck you.
Oh wait, no. They like their Alabama hot pockets too. Okay.
That's just a hot mess.
Well, a mess. I would not. Oh, sweet. Dear Lord, baby chief.
Phone reception is just shit. Moving on. So Grant tries to contact Sattler, which I gotta wonder, how the hell is that thing still operational after being through the digestive juices of a fucking 50-foot dinosaur?
It's a satellite phone. It's not a cell phone. So, magic? I don't know.
I mean, are they more durable than cell phones?
Yes, and they
Well,
can get signal.
They are also waterproof, aren't they?
Yes.
Okay,
some
so
are, I believe. I don't know. I should buy a satellite phone. I kind of want one. With that exact ringtone.
Grant tries to contact Ellie, but the Spinosaurus attacks the boat. Grant ignites the boat's fuel and burns the Spinosaur, causing it to flee. Honestly, when the fire is ignited, that's when the movie starts to go downhill for me, honestly. Because I feel like from that point on, the movie feels incredibly rushed. But I'll talk about that in just a minute. So the next day, the group makes its way towards the coast, but are surrounded by raptors once again. They surrender the eggs to the raptors, while Grant uses the replica raptor larynx to confuse the pack, which runs off with the eggs. The humans reach the coast and find that Sattler had called both the U.S. Marine Corps and the U.S. Navy to rescue them. They discovered that Billy...
I want to say one thing. What the fuck? There's a kid trapped on this island. Oh, no, but then we have a famous person, Dr. Grant. Holy shit, get the military. Everyone go there now.
Yep, I agree with that. They discover that Billy, while seriously injured, is still alive and has also been rescued. And as they leave the island, they see the pteranodons flying free, thus ending the film. So what do you think of this movie's plot?
I like it, but I do have some faults with it. Definitely, it's not like a 10 out of 10 movie for me.
No, not for me either.
But like, there are some like good things in it. I like the simplicity of it all. It's not overly complicated. It's very straightforward. Nothing like, it doesn't take too many detours really. It's just like, okay, someone's trapped on the island. They have to get Dr. Grant back on the island because they need an expert. But although they're kind of stupid because they picked someone who was never on this island, they would have been better suited to pick Ian Malcolm over Dr. Alan Grant, considering he was on Isla Sorna. But yeah, so they go there, and then it's just a simple rescue mission. Get from point A to point B, get off the island, be safe. Gets you right to the point, doesn't drag, things are simplified. Yeah, there's really no scene that drags in this movie. Whereas The Lost World, there's some definite like scenes I feel like just went on and on.
Like the third act?
Have too many characters. What's that?
Like the third act?
Yes. This one, there's not too many characters to follow. It's, like I said, it's simple, straight to the point. People are just there to get in and out, save this kid's life, and get back to civilization.
Yeah, and there's no scene where, to quote Jackie Boy, we are bored off our balls.
Oh, God, he's going to lose it again.
So My opinion on this movie's plot, as kind of Sean said, it is very simple. It's a lot simpler than the previous two plots. That's, in my opinion, that's both a good and bad thing. More good because Sean does bring up a good point of how, it's a simple rescue story. You get in, you do your shit, and go from point A to point B. It cuts out the drama, or not drama. It cuts out the bullshit. It cuts out the fat. Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. That's it. And
you want to see dinosaurs, kids? Here's your dinosaurs.
Exactly.
Enjoy your popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean.
And this is an excellent popcorn movie.
It's a simple B movie, and it knows it's a B movie, and it has fun with it. That's why I like Jurassic Park 3. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It goes in, it's like, okay, look, you guys know the drill. You came here to see dinosaurs. We're going to give you dinosaurs. You don't want to see a movie that drags on for far too long? We're not going to drag it on far too long. You want to get to the point? We'll get you right to the point.
Yep. Though I do have a couple issues with it, however, which I will detail in this movie's cons. But let's talk about the pros first of all. See, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pros. How many do you have?
You know what? I'm working on it right now. I didn't write down, I just know a couple pros off the top of my head.
Alrighty, so
you go ahead and start.
I'll go first. Pro number 1 is that this movie has a decent cast. I say decent because I feel like this movie did step down a little bit when it came to the cast. This movie has good characters in it, but it's not an all-around really good cast like its predecessors. But overall, I find this movie's cast be still pretty good. The highlight of the movie is, of course, Sam Neill returning as Dr. Alan Grant. Part of me really wants to say that I think his performance here is a little better than it is in the first movie. Because kind of like with how Jeff Goldblum played with the idea of kind of like being a war vet when it came to this situation where he's experienced this thing. He's experienced firsthand how terrible the dinosaur being on an island situation is. Sam Neill also portrays that as Alan Grant in this movie, but I think it's a little more so, partially because he was more directly involved with dealing with dinosaurs more than Ian Malcolm was. Not to say that Ian Malcolm wasn't, but Dr. Grant was exposed to them more in the first movie. Ian just spent a lot of his time in the Jurassic Park compound itself, hurt and away from the dinosaurs for the most part. Dr. Grant did not have that. So Dr. Grant portrays being a veteran even more so in this movie, I feel. And whereas Ian Malcolm reiterated multiple times throughout the movie how bad of an idea it was to be fucking with dinosaurs again throughout the course of the movie, Alan Grant only does it in the first 40 minutes of the movie or so. Well, sporadically throughout the first 40 minutes of the movie, but the times where he says this is a bad idea to start fucking with these dinosaurs, he is straight in between the eyes with how serious he is. So it feels more impactful in those small doses right then and there rather than just spread throughout the entire movie. Not to say having it spread throughout the entire movie is bad. I mean, yeah, Ian Malcolm certainly did it just fine. But when Grant does it here, it feels just as, if not more so, impactful than Ian Malcolm did. And Dr. Grant doesn't really come off as being kind of a dick when he says it, though it's understandable why Ian Malcolm was kind of a dick because he was being serious. The ultimate epitome of Grant saying fucking with dinosaurs is a bad idea is when in the beginning, when he's asked if you would ever go to JTISREBORN, he says, "No force on earth or heaven could get me to that island." And you can ask me, you can completely tell, and it's completely obvious that smile that he has on his face is completely fake. That I may be reaching, but I feel like that smile is one of those rhetorical smart-ass smiles. Yeah, I'll never go there ever again. Like, you can see that smile on my face was completely fake. So I feel like the moments that, oh yeah, and another one is, this is good. We're on the worst place in the entire planet. We're not even getting paid. Something along those lines. But you know what I mean. So the moments where Sam Neill is saying, look, being here is a bad idea, they're much more straightforward and right in between your eyes. They're not quite nearly as, not necessarily subtle, but and not downplayed either. They're more extreme than Ian Malcolm's was. But Ian Malcolm's message was a point of that movie, and it was also spread throughout the entire film, and it ended up biting the human villain in the ass in the very end of the movie. So it was fine just there too. But other than that, the rest of the cast is fairly serviceable. William H. Macy as Paul Kirby is probably either the second or third best character in this movie. William H. Macy, I think, is a bit of an underrated actor.
He definitely is a really solid actor.
And
I always liked him.
I like his character in this movie. He's just a concerned father, and this is the father that I really like. He's the kind of father who loves his child very dearly, and he's willing to put up with his ex-wife, who clearly they did divorce because they just, either he wanted something or she wanted something, or he wanted to do this, but she just didn't want to do it. So they just had to part ways because they just weren't compatible. But he was willing to put up with her in order to save their son. And over the course of saving and finding their son, they end up kind of falling for each other once again. So I do like that. So I do like William H. Macy as Paul Kirby. Trevor Morgan as Eric. He's probably the second best character, even though he's actually, no, I think he's 12. Okay, he's 12. So he's a little bit of an older kid. I don't exactly remember how old Tim and Alex were in the first Jurassic Park. I know Tim was probably
like 9 or 10.
Tim was like 9. Yeah, 9 or 9. I think he's at least 9. And Lex maybe was like 11, maybe 12. But I feel like Eric is a much more mature boy for his age. Even though there's a couple moments where he comes off as being a little childish, but if you told me this boy was 15, I'd believe you, because he doesn't just stand around and scream and wait for people to save him. He actually tries to escape dinosaurs and try to save his life. Hell, he survived in an abandoned water truck with not a whole lot of food, not a whole lot of means to defend himself.
Except Crunch Bars.
Except Crunch Bars, which are delicious.
Crunch Bars after this movie.
Which are delicious. He survived there for 8 weeks, and he used his dinosaur smarts. And that's another thing too, that he's a fan of Dr. Grant, and he's a dinosaur fan, and he uses his knowledge of dinosaurs to survive against them. Like there's a scene, careful with that, T-Rex scares away the smaller ones, but attracts one really big one with the fin. This is T-Rex P. How did you get it? You don't want to know.
Total Land of the Lost.
which always cracked me up when I was a kid. This is the way he says it. You don't want to know. Anyway, so I like Trevor Morgan as Eric Kirby. He does a really good job as the character. The rest of the cast is just kind of generic. They're serviceable, but ultimately I just think a lot of this movie's cast is they're just cannon fodder. And there's one character that I will talk about when we get to the cons. Don't spoil it, Sean.
I think I know who.
You probably can guess who I'm going to talk about, but we'll talk about that later. So overall, the human cast in this movie is serviceable. It's not bad, but it's not terrible either. Or it's not bad, but it's not amazing either. So, pro number 2 is I think this movie is paced pretty well. It's overall kind of a quicker pace, except for maybe the first 20 minutes or so. everything before they get on the plane to get to Isla Sorna, I find to be just a tad slow. But from that point on, the movie is perfectly paced, in my opinion. Well, actually, from getting onto the plane and getting to the island up until the Spinosaurus is driven away by the fire, I find the movie to be well paced. After that, I feel like the pacing drops, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. Pro number 3 is there's some pretty good action scenes in this movie, if you ask me. Oop, I have a repeat pro. So I have 6 pros instead of there's another one. Nope. Never mind. So I do have 7 pros. Oh yeah, so there's some fun action scenes in this movie. There's the initial when the group is in the destroyed plane and when they're being attacked by the Spinosaurus. That's a fun scene. There's the raptor scene at the compound. That's really, really fun to watch. The second chase from the Spinosaurus is a little short. Then there's the Pteranodon scene. That's a great scene. Then there's finally the final Spinosaurus attack at the end of the movie. So the movie has a fair amount of action scenes, which are all very entertaining. They're all very well done. They're fun to watch, and overall, certainly not boring. Pro number 4 is the dinosaurs in this movie are once again very fun to watch, though the main driving force for this movie is the Spinosaurus. I'll talk about that in just a minute. But the dinosaurs in this movie are all pretty fun, though a lot of them are just kind of, hey, I'm a dinosaur, bye. Hey, I'm a dinosaur, bye. Quick cameos. Some may say it's disappointing, and for a couple dinosaurs, it's a little disappointing. Yeah, we see a scene with the ankylosaurs; those are always cool. There's the float by on the boat where we see the brachiosaurs and the ankylosaurs. I like the color scheme for the brachiosaur in this movie with the red head and the light green skin. I like that color scheme.
Yeah, for me, it's like it makes the CGI look worse because the effects just weren't up to par with where they are now today. It just like that's, you'll see that in part of my cons when I talk about the CGI. I'm like, yeah, that looks kind of shitty.
The one dinosaur I wish we saw more of. The one dinosaur that I wish we saw more of is the Ceratosaurus, the red and black dinosaur.
The one where they smelled them, right?
Yeah, the red and black dinosaur that showed up. It looked kind of like a small T-Rex with a horn on its nose that smelled the Spino shit. Then it just showed up
in the Disney dinosaur movie, if you remember that.
No, those were Carnotaurs.
Carnotaurs. Wasn't it Carnotaur? I thought it was. I remember the DVD had like a little menu in there.
No, it was Carnotaurs for the Disney dinosaur. Not to mention Carnotaurs were a little bigger than Ceratosaurs. But I wish that the Ceratosaurus was that was the one scene threat. Like there was like a 15-minute chase from the Ceratosaurus. But no, it just shows up, sniffs the shit, then walks away. But still, the dinosaurs in this movie are still pretty fun. And this leads me to pro number 5 is the Spinosaurus. Oh man, I love the Spinosaurus. I don't give a shit what okay, there's one thing about it that I don't like. Fuck, I just lost my film ratings. Goddamn stupid mouse. But I really like the Spinosaurus. I like its design. I'll talk about that in just a minute. I love its roar. I love the Spinosaurus roar. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is when Amanda has the bullhorn and when she's screaming out into the forest for Ben. And then she turns around and says, "What's a bad idea?" Then all you hear is a Spinosaurus roar. And that always sends a shiver down my spine. Because that is it's one of the ultimate ways to shut somebody the fuck up. Then when we get the first full clear look at the Spinosaurus when it stomps on Nate's body and starts chewing on him, lifts its head up and starts roaring. It's so powerful that it manages to knock the plane out of the tree. Oh, that scene is awesome. Love it. So overall, I like the Spinosaurus. Let's talk about its design for just a minute. I am aware that the Spinosaurus look in this movie is not scientifically accurate to the real Spinosaurus. The real Spinosaurus was actually more of a quadrupedal dinosaur. It was able to walk on two legs, but it was so like front heavy that it was not able to sustain being bipedal for very long. So it was mainly a quadrupedal dinosaur.
Mm-hmm.
And also,
it isn't always the most accurate thing in the Jurassic Park movies. Like
I'm going to talk about that in just 1 second. And also, the actual spine on the Spinosaurus's back was much, much larger than it was in the movie. In the movie, I mean, it's still fairly large, but it's sort of just kind of like a camel hump a little bit. The actual spine on the Spinosaurus was more akin to something like a sailfish. It was much longer along the back of the Spinosaurus. It was much kind of multiple hill shape, if that makes any sense. So this also has led some people to believe that maybe, especially now that Jurassic World is out, maybe the Spinosaurus was the first hybrid dinosaur. And apparently that has been confirmed to be true not too long ago. The Spinosaurus apparently was the first hybrid dinosaur. It took the main body of the Spinosaurus, decreased the size of the actual spine, kept the head is the same look. Like, this is the actual Spinosaurus skull. And also you see these big hook claws on its hands. It was in the same family of dinosaurs as the Baryonyx. It just was the largest. And so they took the upper body of the Spinosaurus, added some crocodile DNA, and added some T-Rex DNA. And this explains the lower half of the Spinosaurus being much more T-Rex in appearance. So I am aware of that. And honestly, I'm perfectly fine with that. I do like the fact that the Spinosaurus was the first hybrid dinosaur. I don't know if Sean doesn't like that. I mean, give your opinion, I guess.
It just looks like a cool dinosaur. Let's be real. There's even a line brought up in Jurassic World about this. These aren't all fully accurate dinosaurs. They've always used other species to fill the gaps in the gene sequences. So True. They're never going to be exactly the way they look. And like that's clearly explained. The movie, it's made up science. It's like a made up, but it feels plausible by the way it's explained and interpreted in the movies. So I'm like, guys, come on. It's just they don't have to be fully accurate dinosaurs. Just leave them in the movie, and then if you want to make something that's super realistic, you make your dinosaur movie.
Which I would not be opposed to seeing a fully scientifically accurate Spinosaurus in a separate dinosaur franchise.
Yeah, definitely.
But overall, I love the Spinosaurus. I think it's very threatening. It has a great presence. It has a great sense of threat. It's definitely imposing. That's for damn sure.
I was always
what?
On the Indominus and the T-Rex.
Say what?
I thought that would have made it more cool.
Say that again. You kind of cut out for a sec.
Oh, I said I was always disappointed that the Spinosaurus did not show up in Jurassic World. Well, it does, like when the T-Rex smashes through the bones of it to make it.
Which that was a jab at the fans. Well, not really a jab, but just like a little Easter egg for the fans, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, like I think fans wouldn't complain so much if the fight between the T-Rex and the Spinosaurus was longer, and like the way it was done in Jurassic World. But I just
we'll save that for a little later.
But yes, but I'm saying like the Spinosaurus, it's I didn't realize it was shit on by fans in a lot of ways until years later. I always watched the movie.
Neither did I.
And I'm like, yeah, I didn't know. I'm like, really? I thought the Spinosaurus was cool. I mean, it's an even bigger dinosaur, bigger than the T-Rex. It's got some cool new things. I mean, everyone still loves the T-Rex.
Technically, there were dinosaurs larger, even predatory dinosaurs that were larger than the T-Rex. I don't think the Spinosaurus was one of them, however. To my knowledge, the only dinosaur that was larger than the T-Rex was Giganotosaurus, which was not around when the T-Rex was around in the Cretaceous period. But yeah, I don't think the Spinosaurus was larger or as large as the T-Rex. I could be wrong though. So keep talking.
Yes. Where was I at?
Talking about the Spinosaurus and how you didn't know that it was shit on for so long.
Yeah, I honestly had no idea until maybe this past year, or maybe around the time of like Jurassic World or something like that. I had no idea. I always liked the Spinosaurus. People I know, I think it's more like within the diehard fandom. Because outside of that, like most people talk about, like, yeah, I like the Spinosaurus. Like you like, average Joe who sees the movie, you're just like, what did you think of the Spinosaurus? Thought it was pretty cool. Like the T-Rex, like it. A cool looking dinosaur. That's it. Go ahead and say your next point.
Hang on. Okay, I guess the Spinosaurus was fairly large. Hang on.
Okay. But yeah, I love the Spinosaurus.
Okay, the latest estimates suggest a weight of 6.5 to 7.5 tons, and more recent discoveries suggest that the Spinosaurus could reach lengths of 15 to 15.6 meters, or 49 to 51 feet.
Holy shit.
And it was among the largest of all known carnivorous dinosaurs, nearly as large or even larger than T-Rex, Giganotosaurus, or even Carcharodontosaurus. God, that name just rolls right off your tongue. Which means shark-toothed dinosaur. Carcharodon carcharius.
Sharp tooth. Maybe before time now.
And estimations of the Carcharodontosaurus size ranging between 12 to 13 meters in length, 39 to 44 feet in length. Interesting. So anyway, sorry, that was way off topic. Let's see. So yeah, I think the Spinosaurus is really cool. So pro number, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is I like the movie's score. I actually like it a little more than
Lost World.
Lost World. Unlike in
Lost, the main theme of Lost World, though.
I mean, the music is good in Lost World, but I just found a lot of it to be very, very repetitive. And I mean, it doesn't tarnish the movie for me in any way, but I like the score here a little more than in Lost World, even though a lot of it is very generic. And was this one scored by John Williams again?
No, I think it was someone else. I think this is 2 was the last one John Williams did, because John Williams is like, you're not Steven Spielberg. It's someone named Don Davis. Whoever the fuck that is. Sorry, Don Davis, but what else is The Matrix? Oh, actually, you know what? The Matrix music. Dun, 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 dun,
yeah, Don Davis.
Dun, 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 dun.
Actually, he's best known for his work on the Matrix franchise. That's got me wondering. Did John Williams score any other Jurassic Park movies?
No, he just did 1 and 2. And then Michael Giannasio, or whatever his name is doing the Jurassic World movies.
Anyway, so. But yeah, I like this movie's score. Not much to say about this movie's score, other than it's good music. It's fitting for the entire film. It's well made. It's fun to listen to. You hear the classic Jurassic Park theme enough times throughout the movie to make it feel like a Jurassic Park movie. And overall, the music does make it feel like a Jurassic Park movie. So that's cool. And the last thing, the last pro that I have, pro number 7, is that this movie has, once again, pretty damn solid special effects. The animatronics, they still look great. They're well detailed. They're well made. They're well constructed. Once again, I kind of feel like a lot of the flaws that were ironed out in 2 were improved upon even more. I will still go as far to say that the animatronics in Jurassic Park 2 are a little better than they are in the first movie. Now, again, not to say that they're bad in the first movie, of course not, but they were still a little prototypy. Jurassic Park 2 ironed out a lot of the flaws. Jurassic Park 3 smoothed out a lot of the ironings of the flaws of 2. So I feel like the animatronics are much more seamless in this movie. They're much more ergonomic. They're just much more well constructed in this movie. And I also find the CG work to be a lot better in this movie as well. In my opinion, the only area where the CG does falter somewhat is actually during the Corythosaur and Parasaurolophus stampede. It's not shot very well. It's not shot very well. The editing is very shaky and it's very choppy. And there's a lot of moments where the CG dinosaurs look like they're out of focus, which may have been the point, but they just look blurry, and they don't look good when they're blurry. I feel
other scene I'd say is when they were on the raft. When he's like, something, Dr. Rampilli was right. When you see that green, the brachiosaur or whatever.
It was a brachiosaur, yeah.
I didn't think that looked good.
I thought the CG looked fine.
With the design of them.
I thought the CG looked fine. And of course, when CG dinosaurs are in or around at night, of course, it looks a lot better because you have the dark lighting to hide it. And of course, the best animatronic in this movie is, of course, the Spinosaurus. The T-Rex, the T-Rex animatronic looks good for like the split second that you see it.
Yeah,
like when it raises its head up.
In the movie.
You
see it for like 2 bits,
all you see of it is when the T-Rex raises its head up, then it roars, then it switches to the CG version.
Except when it's dead.
Yeah, that too. When it's dead, that's animatronic. Anyway, the Spinosaurus animatronic is flawless. It looks awesome. Very well detailed. It moves around totally seamlessly. I totally buy it as it being a real Spinosaurus. Whoever, and this movie did have a bigger budget. It had kind of seems like the budgets keep getting bumped up by either $10 or $20 million, because this movie had a budget of $93 million. So it's.
It doesn't seem like this one had a bigger budget though than the other 2. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't feel as grand in scope.
Yeah, probably. I'd imagine maybe some of that was given to Sam Neill in order to get him to return for Jurassic Park 3. I could be wrong, but whatever. So, yeah, all $93 million of this movie's budget was put to good use with its special effects. So that's awesome. So with all the good things to say about this movie, let's get into the cons.
Oh, I gotta get my pros.
How many you got?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 7 or 8. Some of them may just mold together, but if you mind, I'd like to go ahead. So, pro number 1 is the cast. You did a good job explaining them. Mostly Dr. Grant, played by Sam Neill. Honestly, as much as I love Jeff Goldblum, I think Alan Grant is a better lead character to have.
Me too. Yeah.
Movie.
Not to say that Dr. Malcolm is bad. I mean, he's not. I always myself have always preferred Sam Neill as a lead.
Yeah, like, because like Malcolm is different in the Lost World as opposed to he is in the first Jurassic Park. I like the more eccentric Ian Malcolm, where he's like kind of like sprinkled in throughout the movie. I feel like he leaves a bigger impact that way. But like, if you need like a grounded lead character to like hold your movie steady, I think Sam Neill is someone who does a really good job with that. Because I always like Sam Neill as an actor, even if he's in something not so great. I think he manages to do a good job carrying the film. But the other cast members, there's one that's a con, and I know that's characters going to be on yours for sure. Very annoying. But the other cast members, none of them are annoying, outside of the one. The child actor, Eric, was very well cast. Like he wasn't annoying at all. He was smart. He knew what he was doing. He didn't like, oh, poor helpless me. Like, this is a kid who's been trapped on this island full of dinosaurs. And he's like, even at one point in the movie where his like parents are being overprotective, I'm going to leave you for just a minute. He's like, Mom, I survived on this island for 8 weeks. I think I can handle a few seconds. So I'm like, good. This kid's matured. He's just seen a lot of shit. And then, yeah, he's been pretty good there. So character's good, fine. Pro number 2, the Spinosaurus. Like, holy shit, is the Spinosaurus amazing in this thing. All the crazy shit it does. The practical effects of it behind it just look spectacular. The sequences with it, the intimidation of this thing, its roar, whenever it shows up. Like, I love the scene where it's like, I handed the phone to Nash, and then you just see
you must have had it when
the phone ringing, and it do. How this thing is able to sneak up on them, I have no idea. But I absolutely love it.
You think something that weighs 7 tons would make a little rumble every time it makes a footstep?
Yeah, because when the T-Rex shows up, it's like, you hear, like, you know, the acoustic sound where, like, the water would just go. I love it. I love the Spinosaurus. I don't get why it's so hated by so many fans.
I think I have a theory as to why, which we'll get into with this movie's cons.
Yeah, because I'm like, it just, like, I just don't see why it's so hated. Okay, take away that one thing. I just don't get why the Spinosaurus is so hated. It's a cool-looking design. Maybe it's because I was little when I saw this thing. But even now, I just look at this thing and I'm like, it's a cool dinosaur. It's just is. Which gets me to my next pro, which is pro number 3, the action sequences. There's a lot of really good, solid action sequences in here. For the plane crash sequence to when they're being chased by the Spinosaurus to, like, you know, the brief fight, which, you know, it's still a cool dino-on-dino fight. I always used to replay that scene a lot on the DVD. The pterodactyl scene is another highlight when they're being chased by the raptors. I just think there's a lot of really cool sequences in this movie. None quite match the cliff scene or the San Diego sequence in, like, 2, but I do think these are definitely some solid action sequences in this movie. Pro number 4, which was the...
Can I try to speed it up a little bit? It's 11, and I get the feeling people are going to be going to sleep soon.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Anyways, pro number 4, the effects. Mostly the practical effects over the CGI. There's some good CGI in some ways. The Spinosaurus looks really good when it's practical and it's CGI. I think they did a really good job. They tried to do as much practical as possible, which is one thing I absolutely appreciate about this movie. And one thing I kind of don't like about more modern movies is, like, they just kind of get lazy and just use the CGI more because they don't know how to work the practical effects, which you would think with more years of advancement.
Well, there's been a bit of a resurgence in that, but I see your point.
Yeah, which you think, like, with more stuff that's just, like, more time to evolve the animatronics, they use it more. But yeah, was that 1, 2, 3, 4? Pro number 5 is the simplicity of the story. Like I said, there's not too many detours. It's really focused, gets right to the point, gives the audience exactly what they want, which is dinosaurs. And that kind of brings me to, like, the next point, which is just, like, the pacing is fine, and it knows what it is. You know, it's not trying to go for any high-class art, entertainment. It's a B movie with dinosaurs, knows what it is, tries to have a little bit of fun, give you some entertainment value for your 90 minutes, doesn't drag at all, gets to the point, gives you your dinosaurs, just comes and goes. It doesn't, like, change the game or anything like that, but, you know, it's a fun 90 minutes with some cool dinosaur stuff.
Alrighty,
so that's my big summation of this.
Talking about our cons, I kind of want to talk about that at the same time. So con number 1 is one of my biggest problems with this movie. Certain character, let's all say it now,
Tia Leone as Amanda.
Amanda Kirby. Oh my God.
She does not shut the fuck up.
She doesn't shut the fuck up.
Oh my God.
Bitch, just take this knife and shove it down your throat. Shut up.
Oh my God.
I can't. Worst character in the entire Jurassic Park franchise. Hands down.
There is one character in Fallen Kingdom that rivals her. And that's the annoying, whatever his name is, the one screaming nerd dude. Honestly, Tia Leone, I'll give her props that she's kind of paranoid because she's a mom. That other annoying character, hipster character in Fallen Kingdom, I think is slightly worse.
Yeah, the computer dude.
Franklin, or whatever his name. Who really?
I think it's Frederick. It started with an F.
Franklin.
Yeah, he's pretty close. I'll give you that. I wished he would die. But
oh my God, I was so mad when he didn't.
Tia Leone is, I mean, she's a decent actress. Granted, the only two movies I've seen her in is Jurassic Park 3 and the first Bad Boys.
She was in that movie with Nick Cage.
I can't remember that movie, but
Tower Heist is another one.
Maybe, I don't know. But she is so fucking annoying in this movie. She never stops screaming. She never stops talking. She's just annoying. I can't fucking stand her in this movie. And I so badly wish the Raptors would have killed her.
Oh, God, that would have been justice.
I don't like Amanda. Con number 2, for me at least, is I think this movie's too short.
Yeah, definitely.
This isn't a huge problem. Like I would have been fine if this movie's like another 10 minutes longer, but this is the shortest of the entire franchise at like 94 minutes long. If it was an hour and 45 minutes long, I would have been fine with that. But I mean, it's not a big problem. I don't have that much to say about it, but I wish this movie was a little longer.
I know an exact place where they could have extended it, and that was like the ending. Which gets me into my con number 2 or /3 kind of, because we talked about the length, is the underwhelming ending. Because the Spinosaurus just kind of just runs off.
Yeah.
Like I think I heard originally they were going to do an epic ending where it was like all these different dinosaurs were on the beach, and they were going to have the military come in and gun them all down. Like, by God, do that. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're already spending money on this thing. This movie would have made at least $100 million more had they gone with that ending, with the military fighting the dinosaurs.
Yep. Not to say this movie was financially disappointing. It made almost $370 million, but yeah, would have been a little more successful if they did, I think. That's actually my con number 3 as well, is that the ending feels very anticlimactic. When the Spinosaurus runs off, the rest of the movie just kind of rushes to get the movie done and over with. So it kind of leaves me wanting more.
Yeah, exactly. It leaves you wanting more. It's like, guys, come on. I know you're kind of playing it safe, which is into my next con, which is it plays it a little too safe.
This movie's very tame.
It's very tame. It doesn't really add much to the series. And it feels like it's lacking because it's not nearly as epic in some ways as like what the first movie did. And then what 2 did, where they had the T-Rex in San Diego and had all these different characters. Like, it felt like, there was a lot more at stake in the second one. This one is just like, here's a little standalone adventure. I like it more. It's more focused than that. But it just is like, it feels kind of underwhelming. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it doesn't give you that big punch at the end of the film.
Yeah. So con number 4 for me is Alan and Ellie broke up.
Oh, yeah, that's in mine there, too.
Why?
What was the fucking point?
Well, yeah, exactly. What was the point? Sam Neill's character had finally gotten over his hatred of kids, and then you shit all over that by having them break up. What the fuck?
I hate when that shit happens, like movies, TV shows, in between films. They did the same shit in Fallen Kingdom.
Yes, and
I'm like, oh my God, we're doing this shit again.
I don't think that case is nearly as irritating. Plus, it kind of seems like they got back together again at the end of the movie, so I guess there's that. Ugh. But yeah, I don't like the fact that Alan and Ellie broke up. It's kind of a Halloween Resurrection scenario where they just shit all over Jamie Lee Curtis's character at the end of or at the beginning of Resurrection.
Mm-hmm. I hate that shit. It's lazy writing.
It's very lazy writing. Yeah.
I think the only reason was because they didn't want him like have a reason to stay.
Yeah. Con number 5 for me is the opening scene. What happened to the boat?
It crashed.
No, it was attacked. Obviously, it was attacked by something. But what the fuck was it? And that question's never answered.
Yeah, because like they didn't have any aquatic dinosaurs around that area.
There was supposed to be an aquatic dinosaur at the end of this movie, which I suppose, that would be explained. Well, that's what happened to the boat at the beginning of the movie. But no, they cut that out for budget reasons. Fuckers. So, I mean, it's a little nitpicky, I will admit. What the fuck happened to the boat?
Yeah, but I always wonder what it was, too. I'm like, what dinosaur did this?
Probably a mosasaur or maybe a plesiosaur.
Yeah, probably one of those two. My next con, this is like some generic characters, and I'll just kind of get to my next 2 cons because I think that's pretty much the gist of them. Whatever con I'm on right now. Some generic characters. I know you brought this up kind of.
Just kind of cannon fodder.
Yeah, they're just kind of cannon fodder. None of them are awful actors or anything. Well, Tia Leone is very annoying, but they're just kind of there. Like there's Nash, who's just there. There's Udusky,
there,
just there, and then
Cooper,
Billy.
There.
Yeah, Cooper. Oh fuck, I forgot about Cooper.
Exactly.
That's Cooper. I do love that sequence where he's just like, stop, and then the thing just munches on him.
Chomp.
Like, oh, that would have been cool. How much cooler would it have been if that plane full-blown crashed right into that Spinosaurus?
Probably would have killed it.
Probably. Or it would have been like wounded and they thought it was dead and like, shit, we're trapped on this island. Then they start to move and the thing like starts to get up. That would have been terrifying.
Yeah.
I thought.
Moving on.
So what else is next? The last con, because I kind of went all over the place with my cons since I matched up with you, is the CGI. In a lot of areas, I don't think it looks very good. In fact, I think some of it looks worse than the first 2 films. The sequence I pointed out is like the stampede scene is one when they're flying over the island. I think it's a lot has to do with like the color texture too. The greens just don't look that good. It's so obvious it's CGI, whereas like some of the first 2 films, like it felt like there was more of something there. But like when you look at the dinosaur, especially in that sequence where Grant and Eric and that are on the boat after Billy died and supposedly died. They
died.
Look up and just like they try to have that whimsical moment, and it just looks this looks kind of bad. Because like I said, there was more of a like CGI was more common at that time during 2001, and it's not up to par with where it is now.
No,
there's some stuff that holds up.
Well, yeah, there is a lot of 2001 CG that does hold up, but there is also a lot that doesn't.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it with Jurassic Park 3 in terms of my cons. Do you have any more left?
I have 2 left.
Okay.
A big one for a lot of Jurassic Park fans, I will admit, and I'm being a little fanboyish by saying this, I don't like the fact that the T-Rex gets killed.
Okay, that can be it to my cons. I thought I wrote that down.
Don't. Okay, if you wanted to do this, if you wanted to have the Spinosaurus be the main big baddie for your movie, what you could have done is have the T-Rex and Spino fight. The T-Rex gets hurt and it runs off. The end of the movie, before the humans get rescued, is a rematch between the T-Rex and Spino, with the T-Rex eventually killing the Spino.
T-Rexes.
Or yeah, even 2 T-Rexes. So it could have been kind of like a prototype Rexy versus Indo fight from Jurassic World. But
honestly,
no.
The way you're describing, like, holy shit. It could have been the 2 parent T-Rexes from the Lost World.
Yeah, okay, it could have been that too. So that would have confirmed.
God damn it, we just came up with a better ending.
So you could have done that, but no, the T-Rex has to get killed off. What you're killing the face of Jurassic Park. Why? Mm-hmm. And my last con,
so-called raising the stakes.
Yeah. My last con that I have, this may sound a little odd, but I do have this. It's not a huge flaw, but it is something that struck out to me. When Decker Shadow reviewed Jurassic Park 3 as part of Dinocember, he mentioned in his closing analysis for Jurassic Park 3 that it feels more like a Jurassic Park spin-off movie rather than a true sequel. I have to wholeheartedly agree. This is a very small scale story, which is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because ultimately this story feels kind of pointless. I mean, I like this movie, but it's kind of like the Godzilla versus Space Godzilla of Jurassic Park movies. Because this movie's story isn't even remotely touched upon in Jurassic World and Fallen Kingdom.
To be fair with those two movies, they kind of just ignored the other movies like altogether, which has irritated me. I'm like, it's like, oh, we're like they exist, but we're just not going to reference them.
I wouldn't say that, but ultimately, I feel like I have to agree that yes, Jurassic Park 3 feels more like a spin-off rather than a true sequel. And I think that it's not a huge problem, again, like I just said, but I still do think it is a problem nonetheless. But overall, final thoughts on Jurassic Park 3. I like this movie. I think it's a lot of fun. If you want to sit down and watch an entertaining, not only a monster movie, but if you want to sit down and watch an entertaining B movie, I guess you could call it a B movie. A B movie with a couple friends, get some pizza and some burgers and some beer, and just enjoy it, you'll have a blast with Jurassic Park 3. It has its problems, yes. But overall, I still think it's an underrated installment. But I also still think, in the overall scale, it is one of the weaker installments. So what is your rating for Jurassic Park 3, Shawnee Boy?
I think I'm going to give Jurassic Park 3. I'm kind of torn between a 7 and a 7.5 out of 10. You know what? I'll be kind. I'll give it a 7.5 because I do have a lot of nostalgia for this one. This is
as do I.
Whole Jurassic. There's like a lot of Jurassic Park hype for me behind this one. It's a movie I've seen a lot. I've seen this one the second most out of all the Jurassic Park movies, mostly because I watched them a lot more when I was a kid, and I don't put in Jurassic World or Fallen Kingdom all that often. I mean, Fallen Kingdom just came out this year, and Jurassic World is like one like I've watched a bunch of times. I think that one's the second best in the franchise upon my rewatching of the whole series. But Jurassic Park 3, it knows what it is. I mean, I get what you mean about the spinoff feeling, which is what this feels like too. It's like, yeah, it's a very small scale story. Doesn't really like continue too much. The story just kind of continues with.
Oh, and as you mentioned earlier, the fact that it's a spinoff and it's so simple, you are right. It doesn't bring anything else new to the table, which is both a good and bad thing.
Yeah, so like there's some, like I said, there's some good things, but sometimes that can be seen as a bad thing. But I like Jurassic Park 3. It gives me the dino stuff I'm craving. I've come to the conclusion that I'm not going to get something as high quality as the original in terms of like the themes brought up, like something like Jurassic Park is a landmark film in cinema, and I don't know what they're going to do to like get on that level again for me. But Jurassic Park 3 is one where just like I know what it is. I just go to have fun with it, and I do. I like this one a lot more than The Lost World. I feel like this one doesn't necessarily drag on too long. Remains focused, gives you the dino stuff. Doesn't just take like 30 minutes, like just of pure boredom. It could have gone a little bit further with a lot of the stuff, definitely. But like I said, that's them playing two states.
So my overall rating of Jurassic Park 3, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. I have a lot of nostalgia for this movie. I still do highly enjoy it, and I think it's a good movie. It's a very underrated good movie. So overall, Sean, do you have anything to pimp out?
No, not necessarily. Just got more stuff planned along the ways. I know I have to, after the movie for Jackie Boy versus King Kong film. I'm gonna try and get to that like next week if I can, or possibly this weekend. We'll see. Got some stuff I got to take care of.
That movie. As for me, look forward to either tomorrow or the next day when I talk about a fine piece of film. when we talk about the next Jurassic Park movie, of course, being Jurassic World. And as always, post your comments down below and let me know what you motherfucking think. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share this video with your friends. Happy Thanksgiving to all. I bet you there was going to be some people in the comments saying, he's not going to mention Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you all.
Thanksgiving, everyone.
Exactly. I hope you had a good holiday. Share this video with your friends, and as always, go out and when you're trying to rescue your son from a dinosaur-infested island, leave your annoying ex-wife at home. Please, for all our sanity's
Please
sake.
do. Fuck Amanda Kirby.
Yes. Bitch. Cunt. And we will all see you in the next video.